willingness to serve. And I would like to start with Dr. Jacobs. Thank you again for our meeting yesterday and our previous meetings in past years. We talked about NOAA's Environmental Security Computing Center, NESCC, in Fairmont, West Virginia, at the Tech Park, in the I-79 Tech Park. And as you know, that center received $100 million for the high-performance computer called Rhea to support NOAA's widespread adoption of AI. The I-79 Tech Park in Fairmont is a unique asset for NOAA and the broader adoption of AI. The park houses the supercomputing operation with the high-performance computers named Hera and Rhea. I like that they're female names, but it's just me. And Rhea should be operational by 2020. I won't ask you to comment on that. Rhea will be operational in 2026. What is your vision? Obviously, we hear AI in every single aspect of testimony, no matter what we're talking about, whether it's finances or healthcare, whatever. And we see this also at NOAA. How do you feel? What is your vision for the institutionalization of AI at NOAA, and how would you use these assets that I've referenced?
Very much appreciate the question, and it's great to see that HPC finally get installed and operational, because the last time I was at NOAA, we actually got half of that data center built out.
Right.
I think there's a lot of opportunity with AI everywhere, from like improving some stock assessments in fisheries to also in numerical weather prediction. So right now, there are AI-based models that just completely replicate the entire modeling system. They're trained on the physics-based models, so there's still a need to run the physics-based models, but there's also aspects of AI that can be used inside the physics-based models, where the AI systems replicate some of these physical algorithms. And the exciting thing to me is they can do it in a fraction of a second. So what 5 years ago would take 30, 40 minutes, we can do now in a second or two. Mm-hmm. And I think doing a lot of that development work, particularly on that system, would be a really good use of it.
Well, thank you. Do you feel that NOAA has the support to have a sufficient procurement process now to assess the quality data sets and improve the data storage? We talked about going to the cloud and a lot of other things the other day. Do you feel like the procurement system is going to allow NOAA to move in this direction as rapidly as it needs to be?
I mean, so there's an interesting dynamic, I think, unfolding, because a lot of the data that NOAA has is really sought after by private industry. And the data that NOAA has is obviously freely available to the public, but private industry may pay a cloud service provider to crunch the numbers. So when we would process the data on an HPC system and then host it in a data center like a commercial cloud service provider, mm-hmm. they're actually offering to host the data for, and sometimes free, petabytes of free storage, and allow to pay for the egress, for the download, because they can also charge industry to process the data.
Right. Right, so that gives you a little more flexibility with that. I'd like to pivot to the storms in Texas and the weather predicting, and obviously I live in an area that is prone to rapid flooding like that, but the tragedy that we see in Texas is like nothing that it's unimaginable for many of us. I think a lot of it, and I think it's all the aftermath of community engagement, community warning systems. How can that be improved? How can, and I know not necessarily in that specific area simply because it's probably too early to assess that, but generally speaking, there's still gaps, and I think, I'm sure this is something that you think about. You shared with me that you have a 9-year-old and 11-year-old daughter, I believe, so you're feeling this as well. Do you have any comments on that?
So coming from a background of numerical weather prediction, I always thought naively that if I could improve the forecast skill, I would save more lives. And it turns out that it's really the last mile. Even if you have a perfect forecast, if you can't get the information to the people, it's totally useless. And so having a way to distribute the watches and warnings and particularly in regions that don't have good cell coverage.
All right.
I think there's an opportunity to modernize NOAA weather radio and then potentially also look at some satellite capabilities, some CubeSat-based data transmission. That wasn't really an option a couple of years ago. And so I think probably an all-the-above approach and modernizing the way to distribute these watches and warnings is something that is going to be a top priority of mine.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Senator Lujan, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And to my